All right, guys, welcome back to the Performance Matters podcast. I'm your host, Matrixx, and of course, we're here with Coach Myles himself. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Pete Method Photography, the premier sportsographer in the Niagara region. If you guys wish to get in touch, go to www.petemethodphotography.com or contact via email, petemethodphotography@gmail.com. Support local. Awesome dude. A couple more big shout outs. I want to give a big shout out to all of our Rovember participants.
Over 20.
Yeah, we were
Pretty
checking.
crazy.
I think there's like 20 or so people that are actually on ErgZone where they're tracking all their mileage and all their kilometers. So I want to give a big shout out to everyone who's participating. Again, we're all striving for that 500 meter PR at the end of the month, but nonetheless, it's just the commitment to the process itself. Like Marcy and Rachel and Destiny and Laura, and of course you have Riley in there, Alex is in there. You know, Dave at the helm. Big shout out to Dave for obviously creating the program. We're about halfway through right now. We're just over approaching the halfway point. But yeah, there's a ton of people I obviously missed, but
Even Andrew Pillsworth pitched his coaching expertise as
a
well.
lot of experience in there. So, and I think the coolest part is not only just everyone like doing it, but I think just how supportive everyone's been of kind of when you see someone in the room who just goes on the erg and it's like, okay, what day are you on? What are the high intensity day or the power day? Like, oh, okay. And you can see some people kind of start to gravitate and like rally behind them. And, it's kind of cool. It makes it a lot more fun. I think it surpassed expectations. Like I think the fundraising initiative, I think we're over $2,300.
We're close
raised.
to 3K at this point, yeah.
Oh shit! Okay, great.
We're close to 3K. When I checked Monday, we were over 350,000 meters rowed, and it's been 3 days since. So yeah, we're freaking
Racking them up.
racking them up, indeed. In all
That's
different
good.
facets.
Yeah, it's fantastic to just see the support. But again, it's really the boots on the ground people that are actually doing the workouts, that are still lifting, they're still doing their training, and then they're adding that extra piece on top. So that's not an easy feat to do. We're doing it ourselves. Like there's some tough stuff in there. So you guys should, obviously dab yourself up, give yourself a hand or whatever you gotta do. But you're really kind of setting the standard here, and couldn't be more grateful for all y'all for joining us on this journey. Another news. Where are you going on your cruise? Are you going to Florida?
Leaves from Florida, comes back to Florida. That's all I really know.
That's it?
I don't ask questions. You know what I mean? My wife does such a good job planning it, organizing it. I've asked her probably 6 times where are we going again. She tells me the ports, and I'm like, okay, sounds good. And then in one ear, out the other. So I know she said we're going to some places we've never been. We've been on multiple cruises together. I know it leaves out of Florida, comes back to Florida, Fort Lauderdale specifically, and that's probably all I can really tell you. But
yeah, Destiny was asking this morning.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he's going on a cruise. I'm like, I don't know what kind of cruise. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure it's out of Florida.
That is true. That I can confirm because I know we're flying to Florida.
Pretty sure it's out of Florida. I just don't know. It wasn't like going to the Caribbean or if it's going to,
Yeah.
I don't know what those other islands are.
I'll tell you next week.
Yeah.
Post-production.
Come back with a tan and start speaking a different language.
Yeah, tan to burn. It'll probably look something like this wall here.
Yep. Be red.
Yeah.
So I think a funny topic we're discussing, I think what's going to kind of be like the main start off to the episode today, weird program requests. So again, many years, a lot of programs, a lot of awesome people, a lot of athletes. And of course, a big part of it is just, the education piece and helping people try to understand like the training process, like debunking a lot of probably misconceptions, but there's always funny requests that kind of come through. So I think we're going to kind of just dive into a couple funny ones I think we've heard over the past couple of years. I think one that recently came up, I think it was parents saying something like a very common was like, well, my kids aren't sweaty. Like, why aren't they sweating? Why aren't they doing, why aren't they like out of breath? Why aren't they kind of KO'd essentially? Why aren't they like in the gutter, like thrown up or some crazy shit like that? And again, in-season athletes, they have a lot on their plate, right? But for certain sports, the whole goal is not to just throw them at the wall and just beat them into the ground, right? Training is systematic. Training is progressive. It's trying to elicit a stimuli to then elicit an adaptation, right? And especially if you're in season, it's kind of balancing all those expression type qualities while also building capacity and hopefully mitigating risk of injury or things that's kind of going to the wayside. So the first thing I would say to that is you don't have to be sweating and out of breath to have had an effective training session or effective workout, so to speak. It really comes down to what is the goal and the intent, right? Volleyball in this example is like 10-second rally on average, maybe probably have like 30 to 50 seconds in between serves. I don't need them being marathon runners. I don't need them doing like
Probably gonna make them worse, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's not going to do them any favors. It's not going to help them. So just because you're not sweating, again, everyone has different sweat weights. People can sit here and just start thinking about working out and they start sweating.
Yeah, I tie my shoes, I probably sweat.
Right? So it's just one of those things where, like just because it didn't sweat doesn't mean it wasn't effective. You know what I mean? There's a time and place for certain things. I think that kind of debunks that one. So just because you don't see them physically exhausted or thrown up in a garbage can, which, by the way, if you're trying to run them till they puke, you realize when you puke, it's your body rejecting something, right? So if you are pushing your point to the extreme where you're throwing up, again, if it's a national level final and you're nervous, all that stuff, like you have nothing to lose except silver. So you might as well push yourself to limits. But in the long-term process here, on average, trying to push someone to throw up is a stupid fucking ambition. It's your body literally rejecting the demand that you're putting on it, right? So it's trying to find a way to stop. It's trying to empty the tank. It's literally trying to salvage itself, right? So if your goal is like, oh, I want them like puking, throwing up, it's like, well, that's not the goal, right? Like I would argue that's quite the opposite. It's like we don't want to get to that point. We want to elicit enough stress where it's pushing and walking that line of capacity and tolerance, but not going to the point where our body's going to reject it. That's just mine. Yeah. What's one of the ones you got?
I got 3 that kind of stick out of my mind, but it's funny because a lot of the funny program requests, like as you kind of alluded to, they're all well intentioned, right? They all come from somewhere, a place of optimism. But I think people who come train with us need to realize like how much back end thought and I'll say studying, for lack of a better word, goes into every single program that gets written. So you will get like a soccer athlete, and the parent says, "Can you really make sure my kid is focused on speed?" And it's like, it takes me a second to not just snap back and be like, "Do you not think I don't know that a soccer kid needs speed?" But of course, like it's a good question. It's a well-intentioned question, but they have to realize how much, like I said, thought and studying has gone into and continues to go into every program we write. You know, at this point, we've also pretty much trained athletes from every sport, so you kind of know, we're always coming up with different methods of how to do things better, but like you do know the demands of the sport and what they're going to need. So, your gut reaction is you want to say, of course I'm going to give that to your kid because I know that's what they need. But those are the ones you get a lot of time is, can you make my kid faster? Can you make my kid stronger? And you want to reply and say, what do you think my goal is, to make them slower and weaker? Like, do you think that's my goal? And can you put muscle on them? Like, again, do you think I'm trying to make them fatter or less lean or whatever however you want to say it? So those are the funny ones you get all the time, and they are well intentioned. But it's like, guys, like part of the process is you're putting your trust in us when you sign up for the service. Like there has to be a level of trust the process, trust the pros, and we have the history of success in all these sports. There has to be a level of trust.
It's like going to the dentist saying, "Can you make sure you clean my teeth?"
Yeah, exactly. Right? Can you make sure my teeth are white? Like,
you make sure my teeth are clean.
And the dentist will go, "Oh, is that what you want?
Oh,
is that what you came here looking for?" Shit, I didn't even think about that. I never once
really want to drill into a cavity or something.
You don't want me to leave that cavity there untouched. Yeah. So a lot of them, what I think is another big one is like the, comparison is a thief of joy type thing. So you might get kids that are like, my buddy just trains at the local whatever, and he benches this. Like, why don't I bench that? And I'm like, okay, listen. Like, you have so many different needs for your sport that so many boxes we have to check. Yeah, there's a time and place. You have your buddy that goes to the other thing and benches 4 times a week, and his bench probably goes up. That's all well and good, but he probably can't touch his toes, probably couldn't run to the bathroom, probably can't squat below 45 degrees, never mind 90, or 135, whatever you want to say, you know what I'm saying? Can't hit no range, can't run to save his life or jump on a 6-inch box or jump over a piece of paper. Like, that's why you maybe are not just seeing the gains in this one little specific thing. It's like Squatober.
Jump over a piece of paper.
Right? Over a credit card? Probably can't, you know what I mean?
I never heard that one.
That's why. Because you have more than just your bench. I love bench press, okay? But you have more than just that you have to develop, and that's the reason why, right? Yeah. There has to be so many things that go into the program. It's easy in high school. It's like all they live is a comparison game, right? TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Like, so I don't blame them. I don't blame them where the question comes from, but it's like, guys, like, it's because you have all these other needs that also need to be met in addition to that. Bench press in this case, whatever. Or conversely, why is my buddy run faster than me? Okay, like A, that a lot of that might be genetic. B, yes, you are increasing your speed in here. You're also increasing your size. Like it's the same thing we always talk about when someone says, "Oh, this offseason or this past training phase, I don't feel like my 10 or 20 yard split really got faster." And you're like, "Yes, but let's look at the in body. You put on 10 pounds of muscle, and you're moving more mass now at the same speed. Do you not understand how that's better mass specific force?" Right, so it's always like the educational piece and giving them context, I think, is where the biggest thing is.
Yeah, we had that example with one of our soccer players. And I think you got it too. Like if you ran, I don't know, let's just say you ran a 5 second 40 and you're 160 pounds wet, right? You ran a 5 second 40, 160 pounds. You bust your ass over the course of a year. Let's say you're like 180, 190 pounds now, and you still run a 5 second 40. It's like that is 30 pounds of extra mass that you are
Yeah.
projecting down the runway.
I didn't get faster, but you did though.
It's like if you're looking
You
at the
did.
total, yeah, if you're looking at the basic physics equation, you're moving more mass at the same speed, so force went up. So you're like, well, based on that, it's an improvement. Um, I think is like you said, it's kind of putting things in perspective, trying to help them understand a little deeper. It's not just what they're seeing, and it's easy to get the comparison game going. It's really trying to say like it's your time will come when these things will change, right? But we have to stay true to the process. We have to be patient, and we have to control the efforts like with intent. We can't just continue to be general for the sake of just kind of visiting all these things. We have to really be hyper focused on something to actually improve it. So, there's going to be certain component parts that go into it, right? No different than over the summer, we were trying to improve like our volleyball players and their jump, which we did really well, which I was very happy about. I think we posted the findings and everything over the course of 16 or 20 weeks on our Instagram and everything else like that. But there was like probably 6 weeks or 7 weeks where I was like overload eccentrics, like just trying to improve their eccentric ability, right? I want my athletes to unload, break, and then transition really effectively. But to do that, like we have to increase their eccentric capacity. They're not jumping fucking high when they're when they're going through that phase. It's extremely taxing. Their body's gonna fucking feel beat up. Like they couldn't move worth a shit for that whole cycle. But afterwards, when you started focusing on concentric only actions, it really just came to fruition. We're like, okay, all this feels lighter now. It feels faster now. It's like, yeah, like that was kind of the point. So you kind of dug a little bit of a hole, but the end goal was to dig that hole and then climb out of it higher, right? So, I think it is an education thing. It's well intentioned, I would argue, a lot of the times. There's only been a few times where it's been straight ignorance, but
Yeah, like the one that sticks out of my head too was probably my third or fourth month even working with the company, and like I had a client who was like, "I want to lose 60 pounds in a month." I'm not, I'm
damn.
not, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not saying that for shock value. Like generally, that was the question. Like, I want to lose 60 pounds of fat in a month. Can we do it? And I said, no, we cannot do it. And the response was, well, then maybe I'm in the wrong place. And I said, maybe, but I said, I think you're in the right place because I'm not going to sit here and lie to you just for the sake of having another client. I said, that's not healthy. That's not safe. It's not possible, actually, is what I started with. But even if it was possible, that's not healthy or it's not safe. So I said, no, I'm not signing my name to that. I didn't even sign my name to a number. I said, why do you want to hit that number? Right? Went with the 5 whys.
Yeah,
Well, here's why. Dive deeper, deeper, deeper.
yeah,
And again, I said, why don't we just establish these habits and then see what happens? Right? That's kind of the way we wanted to go with it. And he did have a bunch of success, but it's funny because there was a moment if he almost got up and left, and I said, "You go ahead if you want."
yeah.
Right? I said, "You go down the street and find someone that's going to lie to you. That's up to you. That's your prerogative." But
That's the crazy part. Like, there's always, and I was talking to Johnny about this probably yesterday. Actually, I think he was in talking to Johnny. Like, there's always, I think we were talking about, I think it was like, we're something to do with hockey. Anyway, we kind of dived on a rabbit hole summer around hockey and like, you know, kind of like the process they get drafted to the OHL when they're pretty young, and then NHL, all these kind of things. Like, kind of just all these component parts of that sport. Um, I'm like, some of these things, John, I said, like, it's just like some of these things just aren't possible. Like, they have to understand, like, there's a certain, there's these outliers or these things that they're going to have to do. Like, but someone's always going to fucking tell them that someone could always going to lie to them and just tell them what they want to hear. It's like, you're really doing them a disservice. It's like, I'm not saying shit on someone's ambition. I'm saying paint the picture of reality. Like, okay, like we've talked about on the podcast
yeah,
before.
you want this thing? Cool. This is what it takes.
Yeah, it's like, are you doing any of these things? If not, then we're already behind the eight ball. So it's like, until you kind of do that shift, just to even have a conversation is a different story. But that's also the problem. There's people out there that will just tell them what they want to hear, and then do the flashy shit they probably see on the internet so they can show their friends and they're cool. It's like,
Right.
that's all well and good, but what are we getting out of it? Right? Where
Right.
like there's working out, there's training. And I think that's this flashy Instagram garbage. But again, people respond to that shit, they like that shit, but there's these people that kind of we'll talk about later probably, but like tourists and residents of the training realm. Uh,
Thing is, with all these ambitious goals, if you want to achieve uncommon objectives, you need to have uncommon actions taken towards them.
yeah,
Right. So if you're not willing to do those things, you're not just going to get lucky and somehow in magic fairyland get recruited by whoever, get
yeah,
drafted by whoever, just because
yeah. Like I
you
posted
flip
my
the
social
coin and here we
media
go.
like, yeah, they saw me. I'm telling the coach, yeah, look, I got my social media pictures. Like, fuck, man, like that's not gonna sign the contracts. It's not gonna pay the bills, man. Like, sorry, it's not gonna do it. Another weird request we had was I think it was around like duration. I think it was like for team stuff, and it was like duration. Like they wanted their team to do like 90 minutes or like 2 hour workouts, and I'm like, no. I'm like, we don't need to do that. He's like, well, no, we want to do like 90-minute sessions. We want to do all these things. I'm like, well, we don't need to.
No.
We don't need to. Like, I would even argue for sport practice a lot of times, right? Like on average around 2 hours. I think if you're a good coach for many sports in general, you can run an efficient practice in 90 minutes. An efficient practice doing all the things in 90 minutes. In terms of the weight room stuff, there's a couple components that kind of go into it, right? Like there's a certain point when you're doing stressful stuff that not only fatigue kicks in, where now it takes away from your ability to express higher intensities at higher speeds, but also takes away a bit of how you're able to comprehend and learn skill, right? So now those things all break down. Then the adrenaline wears off, right? So all these things that lead to an effective stimulus or things that lead to an effective training dosage are on the decline. Why the hell, just to fit some arbitrary timeline, that I have to make them work for 90 minutes just to say I did?
Again, like my team worked, or I should say trained for 90 minutes while other teams trained for 60, so we worked harder. Maybe. Probably not, or at least not necessarily. It's funny if you look at the actual total time of work done too.
Yeah.
You look at like, just for example, some of our CFL guys, or like an older guy in his career like Johnny Curran, where they have to warm up for like 30, 40 minutes sometimes. They have certain needs, right? And then their actual work sets, because they're, if you're going to be squatting 400 pounds in your work sets, it takes longer to get up there.
Yeah.
But if you actually just add up the actual time of work that they're doing, the duration of, take out the warm-up, take out all the warm-up sets for each exercise, it is going to be around that hour or less of actual work, right? So
Yeah.
you might look and say, well, this guy's been in the gym for 2.5 hours. Yeah, okay. But he's not doing a 2.5 hour workout. You have to understand that's different.
Yeah.
The session might look like it's 2.5 hours, but that includes 30, 45-minute warm-up, whatever. Cool down at the end, most of these guys are doing. And then the warm-up sets, which I wouldn't really count. If you're going to 3 sets of 5, back squat, 405, whatever, like I'm not counting that 1 plate, 2 plates, 2 plates and a green,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm not counting that towards that total duration. So the actual work done is not that much more than that 1 hour anyway.
Yeah, like any of these track's a great example, right? If you're doing like a 100-meter dash and you're on a track practice, a lot of the 2-hour practice is just
Recovering.
is literally warming up and recovering between
Yeah.
bouts, right? There's a reason for that. Like, track knows it, and strength and conditioning coaches, a lot of us hopefully should know that. That there's certain energy systems involved. There's certain thresholds that we can hit for certain durations of time, and we need a certain amount of time to recover from those efforts, right? On average.
If you looked at a track practice and did like a time motion analysis, essentially, how many seconds the athletes are actually under tension, so to speak, or actually active, compared to that total of 2 hours, it's a very small proportion.
Yeah.
Because of what you just said, it's not that they're being lazy. If you went and watched a track practice and didn't know anything, you'd be like, oh man, these guys are just standing around, they're not getting nothing done. It's completely the opposite.
Yeah.
Every time they do something in their practice, it's so high demand that they need to get everything out of it, that they need to recover in between, that it looks lazy to the uninformed eye, but it's truly not.
Yeah, it goes back to like, why are my kids sweating? It's like, well, he's doing a track practice. He's doing a 100-meter dash.
Yeah.
He's preparing to get better at that set distance as fast as he can. Like,
Right.
It's just a big misconception where I think they think, oh, they have to be sweating to be out of breath. It's like, well, no, like you don't have to do those things. Like the whole point of training is systematic to achieve a certain outcome of a certain training quality or group of qualities to either improve performance in sport or improve performance in whatever other realm they're choosing to do.
If you're like a cross-country runner and you're never sweating, maybe that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, sure.
Let's look at the demands and let's look at the
right and then
desired outcomes.
everyone has different metabolic rates. Everyone has different physiology with how they sweat, and things change. Like, I don't know. I think it's just the misconception that they feel like, oh, but at the same time, there's guys that will just hang their hat. Oh, I had a good sweat today. It's like, okay, great.
You winning? Are you winning though?
Yeah, it's like
Games or tournaments or whatever?
yeah, okay, you got a great sweat. So why do you still look the same size?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you look the same size to me. Like,
You look the same size, or you haven't won anything ever. You haven't progressed
Yeah.
up the ranks of your respective sport, or
but I love that you're
whatever it may
sweating a
be.
lot. I
Yeah.
love that your sweat rate's up, but nothing got done. It's ironic. So it goes on both sides. But yeah, it's another one I think we heard was like, well, the girl, like the parents would be like, oh, we need more stretching. It's like, okay, why?
Yeah, answer question with the question. What would that do?
Again, well-intentioned,
Yeah.
but you ask why, and they don't know the answer. They don't know the answer because they feel that's something they should do, but they can't justify why they should do it. Right? Which is why we do things a certain way. It's like I don't hang my hat on what we do. I hang our hats on what we choose not to do.
Right.
Because there's a rationale why we're not. We can do a lot of things. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Right? Again, if we're talking about static stretching in particular, right? If you do too much of it, there's been some research to show that actually can take away from high effort outputs.
Yeah.
Right. Again, you have to be doing it for like a long duration of time and regularly, and you'll start to see some actually detrimental things. That's why they started bringing the dynamic warm up being more realistic.
You can decrease force output. You can worsen the Golgi tendon and the muscle spindle reflex response, stretch shortening cycle. Do any of those things sound good, parent? Do those sound desirable?
They'll be like, what's a Golgi?
Well, see, that's what I mean.
What's
the
a
Golgi
Golgi
tendon,
tendon?
the muscle spindle. Do these things sound desirable, parent XYZ, whoever?
It's...
Oh, no, those don't sound desirable. Okay, well, then
the whole
that's
point of warming up is to prepare for the work to come, right? If we have them doing sprint work, guess what? We're going to do sprint-based warm-ups. If we have them doing squats, we're going to have a squat-based warm-up. We're preparing the body for the work it's supposed to do, right? And of course, you can build things in that might help with the core, obviously, as well. But if we're training to achieve a certain quality or outcome, then we're preparing to do that, right? They go to practice, they get prepared to go to practice, right? They warm up. You know, you go to a basketball game, guys are shooting free throws. Makes sense. Why? Because they're getting ready to go play fucking basketball.
Right.
Right? If they come to the gym, guess what they're doing? They're fucking doing shit to warm their bodies up to get prepared to do higher outputs under a bar or on the turf, whatever. So, you know, again, if it makes you feel good, like, go ahead and do it. All I'm saying is if you're hanging your hat on that's the difference maker, you're full of shit. Sorry. I'm not buying it. If you do any full range of motion strength training, it's pretty much loaded stretching for the most part. Any excess work you do, right? It's the same concept. You're taking your body through multiple planes of motion, hopefully at full range, you know, the times that are necessary. You're getting what you need out of it, right? You're trying to actually access those range of motions and create tension and force through it. So, you know, it's one of those ones where well-intentioned, just
equal parts well-intentioned and uninformed.
Yes,
uninformed. Which that's the problem, is that we're always happy and willing to educate. When you feel like the question is coming from a genuine place of actually being genuinely curious and not like more suggestive. Why aren't they stretching?
Yeah.
You could say, hey, you know, why aren't they stretching? Like, that's like a genuine, probably honest question.
Sure. Let's have a conversation. We'll dive down that rabbit hole.
Versus the tone of like, why aren't they stretching?
Yeah.
Just that small little inflection, but.
Yeah. Or a coach is saying, well, they should be doing this. It's like, based on what? Just tell me where you came up with this, based on what? Right? If you quote some professional soccer guy does that, and he's professional, like, that's what made him professional? Probably not. You know what I mean? Like, besides the fact that he probably was really good at his skill, and, you know, it's no different than when CrossFit was popular. People are like, oh, you know, I just got to do CrossFit and I'll be big jacked and yoked. I'm like, do you think the people that actually compete at the highest level of the CrossFit games, you think that's all they did was just CrossFit? You don't think they did purposeful sprinting? You don't think they did purposeful, you know, high intensity strength training or whatever? Like, they were maximizing all these component parts to a sum for an event. No different than like a decathlon, right? I think they just do decathlons at practice. Like, no, they focus on certain components, right, for the event to then create a wholesome sum.
Right.
So it's not just that one damn thing. It's naive simplicity. Well, that's the answer. There's no simple solution to a complex problem, right? There's no simple solution to a complex problem. We said that multiple times. We tell that to our interns, which they're learning a lot about those things as they go.
It's hilarious bringing up CrossFit because you look at, you go to a CrossFit class and they try to mix all the tenets or facets of fitness into one class. But you look at the people at the like pro level, like you're saying, who compete and win millions of dollars doing it.
Yeah.
Two things. A, they train full time and they do like multiple sessions a day. So they logically will do like their explosive strength stuff in the morning and then like another one or two specific endurance stuff later in the day. B, all the people at the top have a background of collegiate track, national level weightlifter. No, seriously, you can name,
they have spirits in the game, yeah.
They have national level sprinter, national level endurance runner, national level, international level Olympic lifter. Like, and then you can just put all this stuff together and call it CrossFit. But none of these people are just doing your local CrossFit class and then just they're on top of the world competing and showing out. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
creates a bit of like a false belief or like a false.
The people see the glory of
and all these people are jacked.
Yeah, they
are.
So
you look at them, you go, oh my God, I would love to look like that. Yes, but the things you think you're doing to look like them, they don't even do.
Yeah,
that's a problem, right?
Yeah, it's a causation or correlation. You know what I mean? Like like all those guys were, like you said, they're doing all these different things multiple times a day to then equate to a wholesome sum for the event.
And that's their job. They don't have a career.
Yeah.
That is a career.
Yeah.
They're not working a 9 to 5. They're not balancing the struggles that you maybe are balancing.
You know what I mean? Sorry, like Billy Joe over there who's just finished off a 9 to 5, like, okay, I'm gonna go to CrossFit, do like fucking 5x10 power cleans, and then go do a mile run, then come back and do 5x20 burpees, and then go back
Walking
and
my
do
hands,
walking my hands.
get in the assault bike and rip it till I puke.
Next thing you know, yeah, you're throwing up, but you can't tell what hurts more, your fucking knees, your shoulder, your back, or your ego.
Or your gut, exactly.
Yeah.
From puking.
You're like, holy shit. So I get it. It's nice that when CrossFit was kind of on the rise, it really did bring people back to excited about weight training, which is nice. But on the other side of that, it's going to be like, okay, it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of the stuff they're doing is contradictory to the actual thing itself. But well-intentioned, but it's popular. So what can we say? I think it's a good time to transition to how we kind of get, I think we were talking about too, like some of our athletes, they have this idea of how a program should be, or they see their friends doing it. But then it's like, how do we commit them to a process? You know what I mean? Like they get caught in this realm of like, oh, it's flashy, it's cool. They go to the gym with their buddies like once a week or twice a week, whatever it is. How do we kind of get them to now commit to a training process, knowing that we're not promising bullshit. We're not promising, they're going to hit whatever you said, 60 pounds weight loss in like a month, or hey, we're gonna.
I felt bad because the guy was desperate. And I'm like,
I get it. We're gonna shave 2 seconds off your 40 time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
How do we kind of transition out of like getting those athletes to not only be educated but now get locked into an actual program?
So my gut reaction is, I go back to the Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
So I think it's like the white truck example. I think is what they call it. Like I'm just paraphrasing, but it doesn't matter. You get the principle. He's like, if I'm a car salesman and somebody comes on the lot and they say, I want to buy a white truck. And I go, white trucks are stupid. Nobody likes white trucks. Come buy a black truck instead. Even if the black truck is nicer, I've just almost offended. Like that person has an identity tied to this white truck that they don't even own yet. Right? Yeah. Like they've tied an identity to it. And I've just like offended this concept that they have where they just, People naturally want to do what you say they can't do, or they want to defend.
Yeah, they get defensive.
Right? So
people get defensive.
If they come in and they say, hey, I want to buy a white truck, and I go, oh man, white trucks are awesome. Like, personal preference, I do like black trucks better, and here's why, but we got both on the lot. Let's go check them both out. They're going to be more open-ended to actually hearing what I have to say. And why I bring it up is because kids will come in, and like you said, they'll allude to, hey, there's another gym down the street, or even on YouTube or Instagram doing this, and why don't we do this? It's much easier, as long as, for the most part. Unless what they're doing over there is egregious, it's much easier for us to say, yeah, you know what? They're probably doing great work there too. That works too. Here's why I like doing what I like doing. And that's where you, I think, open the door to be able to now educate them, like you said. Because nobody wants to just be preached or taught at when you haven't got that those digging rights yet. But I think that's a good way to earn them is to be like, hey, you follow so-and-so on Instagram or YouTube, or you got buddies at the gym down the street. Yeah, they're probably doing good work too. Here's why we maybe don't do those things or we emphasize these instead. I think you're automatically going to get more buy-in and more listeners, when you're preaching a good word, so to speak.
Yeah, I
think that's where the process starts anyway.
That's where it would start. And, let's say we get those digging rights and they kind of roll in. Now it's going to be managing. I think this is where a lot of some young athletes kind of fall short, is going to be just committing to that process, right? When we first speak with them, we always try to paint that picture of like, okay, again, this is what you're striving to do. We should be looking to do these things, right?
Everyone who's succeeded has done these things.
Yeah, like let's start looking at these things. Okay, yeah, sounds good, fine. So start the process. And then you start, they have that like honeymoon phase of like, yeah, they fucking get in there, they're all excited for like a week or two, and then all of a sudden they start falling off the fucking wagon. Now we're having to text them, call them, like, hey, we got to get back to work, man. We got shit to do, time's run out, we have to do the thing necessary to do. Because again, training qualities have certain shelf lives. We can't really afford to waste time if something's our goal. Right? And again, this doesn't go for the people that are actual residents of the training realm. We're going to talk about, these are more like tourists. These are like weight room tourists. So we have to then manage those expectations, and there's going to have to be a dose of reality at some point, right? There's always going to be so many excuses you can tolerate. You're like, well, you say you want these things. We paint the picture of what this is going to look like. You're not doing your end of the bargain here. You know what I mean? Like we're putting a plan in place. We're here working with you. We're trying to keep you on track. We know things happen. Shit goes wrong. There'll be high days, bad days, whatever in between. But we still need to be just dedicated and be disciplined to do the thing that we know we need to do, right? If this is what you want to do, you don't have the illusion of choice, right? These are things that you need to do to be able to do what you want to do. So we have to kind of help them understand that. And again, if they truly, decide not to, that's fine. Then we just have to manage expectations again. Like, okay, then maybe this is not what you want to do. Maybe you like the idea of doing it, but it's just not for you. And that's okay. Go do whatever you want to do. But those conversations have to happen, right? And then there's going to be a ton of excuses, and we have to just give them kind of like a reality check and be like, so what do you want? Like, okay, that got in the way, got in the way. Did this get done? No? Okay, it didn't get done. What do you want to do about it? Are you ready to actually do something about it, or are you just trying to rationalize why you couldn't do something? At the end of the day, nobody cares. Like, I know that sounds harsh, but really nobody cares why you couldn't do something. You know what I mean? Like, it could be the best excuse in the world. They'll feel for you, right? But everyone else puts, everyone, how they sleep at night? They sleep soundly, right? If you didn't get what you want to do, like real people that like strive for something and miss, like they fucking stare at the ceiling all night, just running it through their head why it didn't go other way, right? But everyone will pat you on the back and make you feel good. Like we kind of talked before, like sometimes that is enabling. You're enabling a behavior that you know is not going to get them closer to what they want. So it's actually hindering them by default. It's out of a place of love. We're holding people accountable out of a place of love. It's not malice, right? We're trying to help them get closer to the thing they say they want. And we're trying to like go through the checklist. Like we need to start doing these things. Like we need more effort, right? Like it's really out of a place of caring. At some point you're like, okay, if you're going to be a tourist, then this is just not for you, man. Like we're a destination where people come to live and do these things. If you're not that guy or girl, that's fine. But we don't, we're not big on the tourist population right now. We got guys and girls that are busting their ass in all the realms. And I lose patience for it really quickly. You know what I mean? Like I can tolerate so much, but me as a coach, I lose patience very quickly when I start to see those habits and those behaviors. And again, we try to have those conversations like, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like maybe something's going on we don't know. We try to have those conversations, right? And if they're not, in my own words, if they're not really like quote unquote justifiable, you're kind of like, okay, so you had to study. Well, you couldn't fucking study before. You can't study after. You couldn't study tomorrow. You couldn't study like wake up tomorrow early and study. It's like,
are you the only one that has to study?
Right, like
especially when you have a kid who just like skipped a team session.
Oh God.
Like you're all the same age. You're all in the same boat. Like you're really telling me that every other kid just didn't have to study and just you had to.
Yeah, you're the first kid that's an athlete who has to study. Wow, you're fucking unique.
And if I'm these other kids, I'm like, hey, game day, I don't trust you anymore.
Yeah.
Because when shit gets hairy, you
default.
You're splitting.
Yeah, you default. You know what I mean? It's ironic because we tell this to our teams. We usually do a briefing. We tell these teams, and I start to count the numbers, and I'll be like, "Where's so and so, so and so? Oh, so and so, I don't know. So and so, they said they had to study for an exam." I'm like, moving forward, I said, the problem is you preach to the wrong audience because the people that's supposed to hear it aren't there, right? You're telling the kids that are there,
just hoping to God they go back and relay.
Yeah, hoping like, hey, this is bullshit, right? But it's not justifiable. Like, you know what I mean? It's not justifiable. And it's always a fine line with excuses. Because again, there's times where shit happens. And we talk about it. Shit does go wrong, right? Sometimes people can't get a ride, car breaks down, something happens in the family life, shit goes wrong. You know what I mean? I would say certain circumstances, I wouldn't even call it excuses, certain circumstances can be more easily justified, right? But even in those situations, it's how can I either make it up? How can I get back on track? There's some inkling of whether it's going on, they're looking for a solution too. Like, hey, this happened. How can I make it up, right? Some of the girls couldn't make their team lift. They're texting us, hey, can I come in tomorrow at 5 instead to make up what I missed? Great. I have no problem with that. Like, absolutely, like make it up, we'll get it done, right? Reagan's a great example. She missed the workout the week before. She came in on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. She did like 3 team lifts when she was supposed to do 2. She did 3 team lifts in a row to make up for the things she didn't get done. So she got it done, which is awesome, right? So I have a hard time with excuses because I'm like, I get it in the most justifiable circumstance, right? What do you want to do next? Shit goes wrong, absolutely. What do you want to do next? What is your proceeding comment or statement going to be? Is it going to be I can't because, or is it going to be how can I? You know what I mean? And then there's other excuses that we just know are complete bullshit. I don't care if you had to study. I don't care if you have fucking prom. I don't fucking care if you have formal. I don't care. That is a choice you're choosing to make. But don't tell me, like, that's fine, go do that. But don't tell me that this thing that you're working your whole life for, right, is going to be the top priority if you're making these recreational decisions, right?
Yeah, because your actions are not matching your words.
Your actions aren't matching your words, right? Or you say, hey, I have to go to like proms tonight. I'm going to come early in the morning and get it done. Perfect. You can do both. Absolutely. I'm not saying don't go to fucking prom. I'm saying find a way to get it done and then go to prom. I tell my kids that too. It's like, especially in university, it's going to be practice. Practice is going to be your fundamental. That and school, but I'll leave that to the side for now. Practice, right? So it's like, hey, I'll be at the birthday party after practice. Yep, I'll be for Thanksgiving dinner After practice. Yes, I'll be at the wedding. After practice. That is it. And the funny thing is, when you start to do that regularly, people no longer try to, it almost like it kind of weeds out people that are almost like hindering you to a regard because they stop asking you. They just start to assume, yeah, he'll be here, but he has to go to practice first. Perfect. Because now people are starting to buy into the idea of like, okay, we've tried multiple times, like, no, come on for the birthday party, go to the bar, go to this. They stop asking you because you've just been so ironclad in your discipline to your craft, doing the thing you need to do. It's probably hard to say no. It's very hard to say no to people, absolutely. You don't want to hurt feelings, all those things.
But to your point, you're not even saying no.
Exactly.
You're saying yes, but
after, right? After practice. Or even if you say no, fuck it. Who cares? Say no. Like, no, I can't go. Why? I got practice in the morning. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
People will naturally stop asking you because they'll just know that that's who you are, that's your life, that's your vision, that's your passion, and they'll essentially reorganize their own little, I guess event or life things, right, around themselves and just kind of plug you in the equation knowing that you'll be there after practice.
Which you're actually happy with.
Yes, that's exactly right.
It's funny because kids will come to me and say, or us, whatever, and say things like you said, oh, I got to go to prom. I got to go to semi-formal. And I'm like, yeah, I was late for prom because I was training.
Bro, I skipped graduation.
Well, yeah,
I fucking left graduation fucking early, so I had to go to fucking a tournament.
This is my point. I'm like, well, I went to prom. I was late to prom. My prom date was understanding of it. And now 15 years later, we're married. So it's like, you know what I mean? A, that's another message, find the right one. B, yeah. I'm just not the one that wants to hear your shit because I wouldn't have made that decision. So I'm just not going to pretend to be okay with it. I'm not going to pretend to understand it. And I sure as fuck, I'm not going to enable it. That's because I don't think like you.
Yeah.
I just don't. The things you're saying don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
They don't.
And that's the best part.
Yeah.
That's the best part. And I think that's what makes our room so unique. You're going to have a hard time relating to bullshit.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have, because again, everyone in this room.
I catch myself laughing. They're like, oh, something funny. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't contain it.
It's almost like speaking a different language to me. They're saying something like, I have no idea what you're saying or why, like, I can't understand what you're saying. I don't want to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because the more you're talking about it, it's just making me more distant from you. It's almost like I just want to roll my eyes, okay, this again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to empathize with it. Oh, I can't. Well, I have this. It's like, I'm going to stop you right there. You might as well save your breath, save your English, buddy. I can't hear what you're saying. All I hear is when you're saying all those things, I'm already kind of marking on the whiteboard here, not doing it. You might as well just.
Because the reason doesn't matter why.
It doesn't matter why. It's not getting done.
And then don't come back to me next week and tell me how committed to the process you are. Do not, because I don't want to hear it because it doesn't matter because your actions do not reflect what you're saying.
No. It's like you can, again, excuses are things you just justify to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
Right? It's bullshit you tell yourself to make yourself feel better. Okay? You're looking for validation, which goes back to our previous point of, I love you too much to enable your bullshit.
Right.
I'm not going to enable your bullshit. I'm doing you a disservice if I say, that's okay. Yeah, no, it's okay. Mispractice, you got to study. Absolutely, that has to get done. No, fuck you. Find a way to get it done and study. It's not, just because it's your emergency doesn't make it my priority. Right? It's your thing that you're chasing to do. Find a way to get it done. If you're not going to get it done, then don't do it and then move on. Don't bother chasing this thing. You're not him. You're not that guy or you're not that girl.
Look at this example, which equal parts. It pains me to use this example, but I am very proud. So look at Queens football. Okay, just beat my Laurier Golden Hawks last week in the Ontario final. I bring it up because most of the guys on that Queens team are like doctors, lawyers. They're going to class six classes when most guys have 3 or 4 per semester. And they just won an Ontario championship. And they're hopefully going to go on and, for Nate's sake and Alex Walter's sake, hopefully they're going to go all the way and win the Natty, right? So if those guys can do it, and again, these high school kids, you want to get to that level. And you can't do it now. Like, when do you think you're just going to wake up and turn over a new leaf and be like, I know how to study and manage my time and my objectives now, even though they're harder now, even though there's more at stake, and I have more freedom, actually, because I'm in university, and so now I have to really manage my stuff. Now I'll just figure it out. I'll just get it. I can't do it in high school, but when I get there, I'll just figure it out. Does that make any sense?
No.
So these guys are proving that you can do it. You can do it at a high level. And you want to sit here and feel bad for yourself in high school because of whatever reason that you fabricate. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me just stand up and pull a championship out my ass. Let me do that. Make sure you're fucking wearing your shorts. You just gotta stand up and pull. Let me just pull a championship out my ass. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna fucking wake up one day and pull a championship out my ass. Someday I'll do it. It's like, you're full of shit, man. I have very, very, very little empathy, if any, for half the bullshit.
I bring up the Queens football example. Look at freaking the Harvard rowers.
Oh, dude,
They're not busy.
Trust me.
They're not studying.
It's
Well, they're also winning IRAs like how many years in a row and setting records. Like last year, Dave was like, we literally could not have done better. Like we set every record, we won everything. Like, yeah, you can always try to be better, but he's like, we really did
on paper,
everything.
On paper, you won everything you had to win
While setting records, while studying for a freaking Harvard degree. So if those guys can do it, and you think it's too hard in high school, that's okay. Just understand you're never going to do something like what they're doing. You're not. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I firmly believe that everyone's more than capable to do the things. It's just you're not tolerant to handle it.
And you're probably hanging around the wrong people who enable you to do the opposite, right?
Absolutely. Right? They tend to, again, people need someone else to co-sign bad behavior. It's no different than fucking someone trying to offer you fucking drugs. They're offering you drugs because they want to make themselves feel better, like, oh, this is not as bad a decision because so and so.
Because I'm not the only one doing it.
Right. Yeah. So essentially, you're looking for people to co-sign your bad behavior, and they try to make it, emotionally positive. You're like, oh, like it's no, you want to get good on your exam. It's okay. It's like it's only one lift. It's only one practice. No. Get rid of those toxic people, even if they're well-intentioned. Plant your fucking feet. Have some moral courage. This is something you want to do, right? If you're aspiring to be elite, something you want to do. These things, like I said, the illusion of choice does not exist. Do not co-sign on bad behavior from other people simply to make them feel better about their own bad behaviors. They're trying to hinder you. I don't care what the rationale is. Call it what it is. It's self-defense.
Of their own ego or their own whatever.
Call it what it is, right? They want someone else to feel better about their decision, right? If your buddy's like, oh, no, don't go to practice. I want to study. Want to study? Oh, come on. I need to study. You guys, no, it's like, hey, I'll study after practice. Hey, I'll study after lift. Oh, well, come on, I got to do this. No. Right? They're not you. They're not aspiring for what you're aspiring. And that's okay. Let them go be the mediocre. That's okay. We need mediocre people. We need losers to make winners look better. This sounds harsh. I'm not going to lie. It sounds harsh. But fuck mass mediocrity.
Well, that's the thing.
Fuck mass mediocrity.
Why are you taking their advice when they're not doing what you want to be doing?
Exactly.
You're telling me I could skip a lift or a practice or a film session or whatever?
You haven't done shit.
But it's coming from someone who didn't do what I want to do, so how do you know? And it's crazy, like you said, somebody might say it's only one lift, it's only one practice, it's only one film session. Imagine being the guy or the girl that gets to the final, loses, and then reflects and looks back and you're just going to go, what if I would have just did that one more practice? What if I would have just hit that one more lift? What if I would have watched that extra hour of film? It couldn't be me. I could not live my life like that with those regrets. I couldn't.
No, the whole it circles back to your competency and your confidence in the fact that you've done everything in your power, physically, socially, emotionally, mentally, to prepare for the pinnacle of whatever it is you're striving to do. You left nothing on the table, essentially. You did everything in your power. You made the sacrifices. You said the hard no's in hopes of simply minimizing your window of failure to achieve this pinnacle. Right? If you're simply letting things sit on the table and trying to rationalize poor behaviors or behaviors that are not helping you or that are simply hindering you, your chances of success in any realm are just going to go down. And you can sit there and be that fucking person, 35 years old, hang at the bar like, well, I would have got a D1 scholarship, but, this thing, and coach didn't like me, whatever, man. It's like nobody cares. It all just circles back to nobody cares about the shit you didn't do. They do not give a shit. And furthermore, if you talk around people that are successful or winners, they don't have the patience for it. They don't have the patience. You really have to pick who you complain to. Really pick who you complain to. You think, I don't know, you could pick that's like me being a businessman. You think I'm going to go complain to like fucking Elon Musk about how fucking stressful my life is? You think he gives a shit? This guy's fucking running multi-million, billion-dollar things with multiple fucking hats going on. You think he's going to empathize with how busy my schedule is? You can't complain up, man. It doesn't work that way. You can't be a high school athlete bitching a fucking university or pro guys like, oh, I'm just so busy. Oh, I just got so much going on. You think they give a shit? They're like, so, okay, this is not for you. There's no patience. I don't blame them. Like, okay, that's fine. This is just not for you. That's okay. No, this is not for you. But
the problem is, I think that call it social media, call it whatever, has like kind of glorified the grind. So you see these training montages, and you see it looks sexy. You got the nice song in the background and these nice transitions, and you see these athletes working out, doing whatever, and that's where the motivation comes in, right? The problem is motivation lights the flame, but the discipline is what has to actually keep it going, keep it running. That's the gas that keeps it running. So you could have a kid walk through here and watch a training session and be like, oh, this looks awesome. Everyone's getting after it, going crazy, or they see it on Instagram, whatever. That's the motivation. Okay, I don't hate motivation as long as you can actually have the discipline to keep it running, because then you put the own bar in your own hands and you go, oh shit, this is what it feels like. Or you're pushing that sled, or you're on that assault bike and you're like, oh man, like when I was watching them, it looked pretty cool. And now I got to do it. Not only do I got to do it, but I got to do it again and again, week after week, year after year. I don't know about all this. So that, I think that's the biggest problem too. Is a lot of time it gets glorified until you actually have to get in the arena and get your hands dirty and you go, oh my God.
Motivation is the key to start the car. You got to make sure it's got fuel to keep the engine running.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're sitting there trying to start a car with empty engine, it's like it's not going to last very long. So you might as well, you got to find a way to keep gas in the engine and keep that car running. Otherwise, you're doomed to fail anyway. You know, but we talked about it multiple times. I think it comes down to like an attitude thing. It's about clarifying what they really want.
And what it looks like. Paint the picture of what it actually looks like.
Paint the picture of what it actually looks like, and then, like we said before, like encourage them to reach out to people that are doing the thing and just get some real life perspective, right? If they don't know what they don't know, gonna go find out and then ask better questions. And then, your attitude is going to dictate your efforts, going to dictate your outcomes, which is actually a kind of cool segue. We were talking about this the other day. Like, first out, shout out to Mac. The guy just fucking ripped up a 200 kilo squat the other day. Like, fucking Mac Daddy hit a 200 kilo, full depth, great posture, fantastic form, 440 pounds back squat.
It's like a 50-pound PR, yeah.
I was fucking pissing vinegar. I was like fucking so hyped up. I was running on adrenaline for about like 30 minutes and I crashed. But we were talking about like the effect of just a positive attitude, right? We're talking about the effect of positive attitude. Like you look at a guy like Mac, right? Like I think he's about 30 years old, something like that.
Yeah. Young buck.
Yeah, young dude, and he's like sprinting like a motherfucker. He's powerful. He's explosive. He's moving hard. Some of the stuff like he's on his program is like some of the hardest shit I've seen. I'm like, man, I'm looking at his program. It's like, fuck, that's hard. Like that's a hard cycle. Every cycle's a hard cycle, but he
keep putting it on there because he never complains. And
yeah.
And it keeps working.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like he's so physical, but like I've never heard Mac have a bad day or like a bad outlook. I'm not saying like, again, everyone's got their own things going on and some inner demons, but his attitude towards training, I think just anything, I would argue anything he's doing, honestly, has such a healthy competitive curiosity, right? Like he is curious to find out what he's capable of doing. He wants to challenge himself. He wants to push limits because he enjoys finding out the answer. He's curious to find out if what he thinks he's capable of is coming to fruition. Like, can I actually do what I think I can do? So he has a very healthy curiosity of capability, which is, I think, goes to a lot of people that we have. Like Picard's another example. He's got fucking hockey and everything else going on. He's got life things going on. He's never had a bad day. He always comes in, how you doing? Always smiling, right? And he works his nuts off. Like there's nothing that could break these guys. Those two examples. Lucas is another one. The guy's a fucking freak, right? Always in a good mood, always in a good attitude. You know what I mean? He misses things. He picks it back up. He tries again. He's positive when everyone's around. It's like, it's crazy how, those are just a few examples. It's crazy how people with such a positive attitude about anything, right? It just opens up the doors that they're not fearful or negative about an obstacle. To them, it's a positive challenge. It's, can I do what I think I can do, right? I don't know if I can do this, but I want to find out. I'm going to keep pushing myself to find out. I think I can, but I want to actually find out. I don't know if I can. I want to find out. Let me try doing this. Put more on there. Let me find out. I want to go a little faster. Okay. They're genuinely excited to find out their physical capabilities. And by default, they're fucking machines. Like nothing you throw at them can break them. You can throw the hardest thing in the world. They're still doing it with a fucking smile on their face and they're just progressing. I don't think it's a coincidence that these people that have a very healthy attitude towards, I would say anything, but in this example, training, they're also fucking physical phenomenons. It's like, you guys are physical specimens. I don't think it's by luck. I don't think fucking Picard or Luke or Mac would be in the same physical state they are if they would always walk in and be like, oh, yeah, this going on. It's like, because you're no longer curious. You're not excited to find out what you're capable of. You're not excited to train and actually push yourself or walk the line, whatever it is. They're not excited about it. It's almost like they just have to get through it. You know what I mean? And I get those days happen. But if that's your kind of connotation or your outlook on pretty much anything, how do you expect to have a favorable outcome, right? I've never seen anyone give 100% effort with a piss poor attitude. Sorry, it doesn't work. So how can you expect that if you have such a negative connotation, like you view everything as a fear obstacle, like, oh, I can't because, I had this thing. It's like, well, when are we going to find out? Like you're not curious enough. You're not excited to actually embark and find out what you're capable of doing. Like how are we ever going to get better? How? We'll never know, right?
It's funny in this room, one of the biggest kind of, I guess, compliments like a guy like Matt can receive is he's doing all this amazing stuff, and sometimes some of the younger kids are like, oh, what sport's he training for?
Yeah.
Because they just assume. And I'm like, yeah, he
Everything.
plays pickup hockey, yes. But, like, officially, like, they're really saying, like, what pro sport does he play?
Yeah.
And I'm like, nothing. He's working harder than you, probably complaining less than you, just because he wants to. Just for all the reasons you just listed, like, for no official on paper reason. And then the kids are like, oh. Right? It's cool seeing a guy like Matt get motivated by the numbers. Not only, like, the squat, but, like, he likes doing the force plate stuff and the sprints. Guy like Riley Roblin, same thing. Hey, I want to measure more things, right? He's lost, like, 35 pounds since from April till now, and, like, his body fat has slashed and his muscle has gone up.
He's a fucking freak on the erg, too.
Freak on the erg, absolutely,
Holy
leading from the
shit.
front. Another guy I got to throw into that mix is Harrison.
Yeah, Harry.
Okay, because, a lot of people wouldn't know. Harrison, when he was like 18, had an injury where he literally tore all 4 ligaments in his one knee, right? A point where, like you kind of alluded to, a lot of those guys would be at the bar when they're 35 saying, oh, I could have, would have, but I had the knee thing, I had the whatever. He rehabbed it. He played an entire university football career after, and he's still to this day hitting and chasing PRs, right? Always trying to get better. Never once complaining. Never once have I heard him say, I'm just never going to squat again because my knee's fucked. He's like, hey, man, maybe we need some modifications. I need this and that, whatever.
Yeah.
But never once has that guy had a bad day. Never once, right? And again, he and I talk about it. He's like, man, it's crazy. You go to homecoming. Like, it's sad. A lot of your teammates, you see them, they just let themselves go, right? Like, it's such a mind-boggling thing to me how training in some way or another is like so embedded in your life as a college athlete. And then guys either stick with it and really hype it up, or some guys just fully fall off the wagon. He's like, it's sad to see. So he's a good example of the opposite of actually keeping it in your life and emphasizing it. But again, never once had a bad day. Never backed down from a challenge. He's done every Squattober, every December. He's the only one that did Benchuary on his own. He's doing Rovember now. Never once had a complaint about any of them.
No, it's guys like that. Again, like, even in their own lives, we never know. You know what I mean? Like, they probably have things going on that pisses them off. And like, everyone has those ebbs and flows. But when they walk in that door, it's just how they conduct themselves in such a positive way. I would fucking put my life on it that energy and that attitude empowers them to be so physically dominant. It has to. Because I would be highly curious if they walked in like fucking moody and pissed off all the time, and then all of a sudden them try to do the exact same workout and being like, well, what do you think to get out of this? You know what I mean? And to your point again, you want young athletes to see that. Like, I want my junior B hockey guys to look at these guys and be like, see that guy? Like, he's married. He has a job. He's got shit going on too. And he's fucking doing more than you. With
like
more,
5 days a week, too.
With more
Yeah.
going on than you.
Yeah.
In my best, I would argue. More than you, if nothing else, all things equal, I would say Max got more shit to do. Right? But he's finding a way, and he's excited about it. He's excited to find out the truth. And he's literally like proving his own capability. And then he's curious again, like, well, if I can do that, what else can I do?
Right.
The needle just keeps moving upward, right? And then you see these athletes that they'll find any reason not to do something. It's like, well, again, you're just not cut for them. You're not cut out to do what you say you want to do. And that's fine, right? Like, at the end of the day, we all hang up our shoes. We hang up our skates. We retire from competitive sports at some point, right? That's just how the ebbs and flows. There's a small window of your life where you're going to be able to compete at the highest level, right? The weight room doesn't go anywhere. Right? You just
at least it shouldn't.
It shouldn't,
Yeah.
right? It's just a simple change of direction. Like, okay, like, I need to do this now for other reasons. Find a reason, right? It could be a simple thing like, oh, I just want to look good. I want to be able to play with my kids. I want to just, be impress my wife or some shit. It could be anything. I just like squatting. I want to find out, get better at squatting. Alex Bula, great example. She wanted to learn how to sprint. Now she's fucking doing track, and she's training to get better on the track. Just a regular person, a lawyer, and then she just wants to go and do that shit. And then she's curious. She goes and finds out with a positive attitude. It's like, how do you beat people like that? You can't. So it's like, great. Let the horses fucking run. Let them find out. And they will surpass everyone around them just because of how they process and how they interpret and look at a challenge. They are excited to find out what's on the other side of that challenge versus 90% of the population, they kind of pull back the drama. And then they rationalize why they can't to make themselves feel better.
What if I fail? Well, what if you don't? What if you succeed?
You know what I mean?
Right?
It's just like, and we were talking with, we wrapped up last night, and I was talking to the interns too, and I was like, listen, at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck about what's on the program card. For my teams anyway. It's like, I don't give a fuck what's on the program card. It could be a bodyweight squat. It could be a push-up. It could be a TRX row. I don't give a fuck about what the actual those are just tools. We're using these tools to elicit something greater. These kids don't care about the tools. They don't care about our knowledge. They don't care about any of that stuff. They simply care about, can I get better at volleyball, right? Can I get better at soccer? Can I get better at basketball? That's all they care about, right? You don't fucking see a mechanic advertising like, we use SW530 oil. Like, this is why you should.
Cool. I don't know what that means.
No, exactly.
Me,
They're
the
like, they're
consumer,
like, hey, if you get an oil change, your fucking car won't blow up.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. My car will last longer. Okay, great, right? So they don't care about the exercise and the programs. And I told them, I said, my main priority with these young kids is create a positive experience where even if they don't go D1 or whatever, like let's say, their career's over in high school at volleyball, they had such a positive experience that they're curious to train. They're curious to find out. You essentially fostered and nurtured an environment where they are excited to try some of these things, to challenge themselves, versus you make it so, you know, arbitrary. You make it so annoying where they're like, "Fuck, I have to go do that." It's like that's like the thing that would hurt the most. Is like you had an opportunity to foster a positive experience with a challenge, right? In this case, strength conditioning, training in general, working out, whatever you want to call it. You had this opportunity to foster a positive experience where now you have kids excited to find out, like, oh, I want to squat 40. Like the nicest things when you hear these kids, can I go 40? Can I put a 50 on there? Absolutely. Like they're excited to try, right? Like most people are like, oh, it's hard. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just stay here. It's like, no, they're asking to try. That's great. You know what I mean? Naya, great example from last night too. She's like, bench is the thing I suck at, but I really want to get better at it. Like I'm going to add like 1 kilo on there. I'm like, absolutely. Like she's genuinely excited to find out. Like that's the whole point. Because once they have that positive experience and they're excited and they're curious to train and test their capabilities, you really now have free reign to design a better program and use different implements, and they will run through a wall for it. Even if I program a bodyweight squat and push up, they're going to try to fucking push themselves. It can be the most arbitrary general thing, like, hey, you're going to just do a plank. They'll try to hold it as long as they can. Why? Because they love training. They're excited to find out the truth on the most stupidest thing, right? You have more freedom. If all you do is you hang your hat on the sets and the reps and the tool you implement, right? They will do the bare minimum if they fucking hate you. They will do it simply to check the box. And now you've simply created a negative environment where nobody cares to do anything better. They're there so they don't get punished. That's it. It's like, where the hell do you go from there? You can't do anything. The program is no longer relevant. It doesn't matter what you program next. It doesn't matter what you tell them to do or not do. It doesn't matter at all because their attitude is checked out. There's going to be minimal effort, and it doesn't matter what you have on paper. It's going to be an unfavorable outcome, right? And I think that's an important thing for a lot of young coaches to understand is, like we talked about before, you have to earn digging rights, right? You can have the best plan in the world, the best blueprint. I'm going to fucking build this building this tall. If you don't get the permit, you can't get shovels in the ground to start building something incredible, right? So if all you're sitting there is dancing around the edge, we're missing the point, right? But that was just an example from yesterday. But yeah, I think it was pretty solid. Fuck, we crushed that one. Yeah, we actually did. There's one last thing I did want to talk about though, and I think this kind of tied in because I told a story. I told a story last night too, because we had a really good team session, and this group in particular, I think they have potential to really excel. Like it's crazy to see the transition from the past year or so, how they've really come together, and they're actually very supportive of one another, and they're pushing themselves and empowering their teammates. So I told a story about like that, like I think one of my favorite sessions coaching for a team, and I think it was last season with the 18U boys, and it was closer to OVAs. I think it was like March, probably middle of March or end of March, somewhere around there. We're getting really close to the show, and these guys were so locked in. It was like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of work. But these guys always did those small, intricate things really well. They're always, whatever exercise I told them to do and demonstrated, one guy would always be in the other guy's face, like, hyping him up, being supportive, all those kinds of things. They'd clean up after each other. They'd break down the briefing together. They did everything together, right? No one was really alone. If one guy's squatting, he has two guys behind him supporting him, like giving him all the positive encouragement he can get. So they did all those things. We're simply just fostering and nurturing to the point where we've established such a trust between myself and these kids, right? They trust me, I trust them to get the work done. So one session, which was my perfect session, was I think I said a very few words. It was something just like, let's go to work. And they were already hyped up. I just said like a couple things, let's go to work. They broke it down, clap 1, 2, 1, 2, they clapped, and then off they went. I just stood there and I didn't say a word. I was just observing. And these guys ran through everything like a well-oiled machine. They were picking the weights. They were getting each other's face. They were hooting and hollering. They were like doing everything right. They moved on to the next series, and I didn't say a word. They just kept going. They cleaned up after each other, and then they all circled around me. And I didn't say a word. Like for like 40 minutes, I didn't say a word. I was just facilitating. I was just watching. I was observing, and these guys ran this machine like so fucking well. They cleaned everything up. They all huddled around me waiting. I was like, Let's fucking do it. And then we just fucking broke it down again. Everyone's all hyped up, ready to go. It's like that was like the nirvana of fucking coaching.
That's
It's
the
like,
Mona Lisa right there.
that was like the pinnacle for me. It's like you were able to foster over the course of months, right? A true team, a team that was excited to work, a team that was, curious to find out their capabilities, that supported each other on their capabilities. It doesn't matter what their limitations were and every individual limitation. They were there for each other. They were there for themselves, and they just came together as a sum. And then we had such trust, right? A trust that was just developed over these months that they knew how much I trusted them to not have to nitpick anything. I did not need to do anything because they knew that I trusted them. I trusted them to do what they had to do, and they did it flawlessly. It was like flawless execution. There was just so much unspoken trust, right? They're like, hey, he trusts us to do what we have to do. Like, he's not going to be on our ass. He trusts us to do it, and they did it, and I was so proud of them. It's like, that is the pinnacle. You create autonomy in these athletes where you're there now just facilitating. You don't have to nitpick every single thing, right? You're just there to guide, facilitate, And over time, you kind of just like take your hands off the wheel and they're driving the car and you're like, okay, look at them go. Let the horses run. Look at these guys work, right? That to me is like the goal. And I think this team has the ability to do that. Like, they can be so autonomous. They'll learn everything. They'll work together. They'll have that positive experience. They'll have that trust. It'll be developed. And then I can just be like, do it. And they will just run through a wall to do it, and they'll do it flawlessly. That to me is like the pinnacle, right? If you can create that, man, that would be that makes it all worthwhile right there. But yeah, that was the only story. I think that was pretty much the ending of my story. But yeah, so a big shout out to that group, and I got a whole bunch of other stories, but I'll save that for another day. All right, guys, make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast, right? We love subscribers. Stay in the know. We rant every week, so make sure you guys tune in. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube. Just hit the like button, subscribe, keep up to date. If you want, we have a newsletter too. We send out some awesome content blasts. We send out some cool offers. So get involved in that. We love having you. Share with your friends, right? We're trying to grow the podcast as always. Like, there's always some nuggets I'm sure you guys can pull from there, but a lot of times just ranting about cool things we experienced, and I think we love having you guys along for the ride. But other than that, guys, this is Performance Matters Podcast, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and we will see you all next time.
Peace.